It isn't in my blood. I need somebody now. It isn't in my blood. Hey, hopefully that one didn't clip. Let's see. Hey guys, my name's Matt with Endion Media. I'm a mixing engineer based out of Bloomington, Indiana. That's right, I'm a mixing engineer. I play very little guitar, very little piano, and I sing just enough to help get me through production and to help some people with songwriting if they're in the studio and they need help with that. That being said, I am none of those things, but I heard In My Blood by Shawn Mendes today. Not for the first time, but for the first time I really appreciated the song, and at other times it was out with friends or out at a bar or just in someone else's car or whatever, and I actually got a chance to sit down and really listen to it, and I absolutely love the song. So, as a mixing engineer, I'm gonna see if I can sing the song. Of course I have to bring it down 2 steps. I'm going to get grungy and crackly, but to start I created a little demo which we're gonna be mixing right now. Probably take about 10-15 minutes, get a rough mix on this, and I'm gonna throw my vocals down. Hey, so we're here the next day working on this video, and I wanted to let you guys know I cut out the part where I did session setup, time correction, and a rough mix, because I know that's not what you guys are here for. But if you wanted to see videos of me doing that, of how I did any of it, then let me know in the comments, and I have the footage so I could easily make a video and upload that as a separate video. Alright, I'm all loaded up, ready to record. Again, mixing engineer trying to hit some Shawn Mendes vocals. We'll see how it goes. My goal is to get kind of one good take, just full through. I don't want to have to punch a bunch. I will play you guys back, obviously, the original. I'll show you the mix and exactly what I do to mix it, and then we'll see how it comes out. So, here we go. Man, that click is loud. Help me. It's like the walls are caving in. Sometimes I feel like giving up. Okay, I lied. I clipped to the preamp again. I didn't really realize it. It's hard to see when you're singing this way and then meters are that way. So here we go. We're just going to do this again. Give me my click track. Click track is 7 on the numeric keypad, by the way. Whoa. Help me. Help me. It's like the walls are caving in. I just can't. It isn't in my blood. It isn't in my blood. I need somebody now. It isn't in my blood. Hey, hopefully that one didn't clip. Let's see. Alright, I don't think that one clipped. Yeah, no, it didn't. So, we're good. Let's mix this one. Hey, so we're back the next day working on this video. As I said earlier, the footage that I took last night of me mixing this was kind of boring, and I also made a lot of changes after I shut off the camera, enough changes that it wouldn't really be the same mix. So I want to dive into that today, and I'm going to be going over plugin chains, specific plugins, and exactly what I'm using. You guys can see that. There's a lot of tracks and plugins to get through, so I'm going to kind of brush over everything. I will show you everything, but it might not be as in-depth as you want. But I'm going to be making an in-depth video on the drums as a whole, diving deeper into the plugins and exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to do it for bass, I'm going to do it for guitars, and I'm going to do it for vocals. So if you want to see anything more in-depth, then those will be in separate videos, which you'll find the links to in the description of this video. Okay, let's start by hearing this session unmixed. Help me. It's like the walls are caving in. Sometimes I feel like giving up. No medicine is strong enough. Someone help me. I'm crawling in my skin. Sometimes I feel like giving up, but I just can't. It isn't in my blood. It isn't in my blood. I need somebody now. I need somebody now. Someone to help me out. I need somebody now. Let's dive right in. The first thing I did, I may have already shown this already. I'm not really sure. I'm shooting this in 2 different days. I don't know if you've seen me pitch correct this already. But let's throw on Melodyne for all of the vocals. And you'll really hear it in the background vocals too. The background vocals, everything was sharp, and it was clashing so bad with the guitars. It isn't in my blood. It isn't in my blood. That sounds so much better. So let's keep going. The next plugin in the vocal chain is the Brainworx SSL 4000E. I'm cutting at 120 hertz, very light high pass. I'm doing a tiny bit of compression just so that the next compressor doesn't have to work as hard. The vocals were a little bit dull, so I brightened them up a tad, and then I took out about 3 dB at 900 hertz. There was a little resonance there. I went a little bit harder with the compression on the background vocals, and then instead of 900, I took out about 250 on those. So that's everything for the harmony vocals. Moving on to the lead vocals. On the quiet section, I used RVox. I really enjoy the slight bit of brightness that RVox adds. It pushes everything forward just a little bit, and it's very natural compression. I enjoy it a lot. And then last, on this chain is Soothe 2, just evening out a little bit of the harshness I have in my voice, usually around like 1 to 3K. So I'll play that back in A-B the whole chain for you. Help me. It's like the walls are caving in. Sometimes I feel like giving up. No medicine is strong enough. Someone help me. I'm crawling in my skin. Okay, moving on to the louder chorus vocal. I hit it with a distressor because I wanted it. RVox wasn't really giving it the energy that I wanted, and the distressor is really kind of smashing it, which I like. So I'll play that back for you now. You can see exactly what the distressor is doing. It isn't in my blood. It isn't in my blood. And I'm smashing it hard enough that the mix is only at around 75% on that. Keeping it very controlled, especially you can see just visually how dynamic that vocal line is. So it's keeping it controlled, but having it in parallel really lets the vocal breathe just a little bit more. So it doesn't feel constricted. Lastly on that, we also used Soothe, pretty much on the same settings as before. It isn't in my blood. It isn't in my blood. I need somebody now. I need somebody now. Yeah, so that really just cleaned up the vocal and lets it sit into the music well. Let's do drums next. This is going to be a quick one because there's actually not a lot that I did to the drums. They're from Steven Slate Drummer 5. One, they're processed as shit out of the box, so they already sound great. The only thing I'm doing other than gating the toms, which just had a resonance that I didn't really need, is I'm hitting the room track very hard with an all buttons in 1176. This is a common trick, fastest attack, mid-release, to get really nice pumping, and that adds an incredible reverb. Specifically to the snare is where I hear it in the mix the most. And then right after that, I just cut a little bit of around 850 because I wasn't liking it. Here's the room track without any processing. And now with. So let's listen to that in context of the drums. That is mostly everything for the drums, but I can dive a little bit deeper into the bus processing that's happening in the in-depth video. Let's hop over to the bass now. There's two bass tracks. There's a sub bass made with Logic ES2 synth. It's just a sine bass. And then there's a second bass from Ample Bass Lite, which sounds pretty robotic, but gives us an okay tone to work from. Here's that. Here's what I did to the acoustic bass. To start, I hit it pretty hard with the CLA 3A. I like to even out the dynamics on a bass with a 3A. After I do a little bit of volume automation or clip gain automation, I don't want the compressor having to do crazy stuff on the bass, but this will just elongate the notes and help keep the low end of the track pretty steady and energetic. I'm cutting a bunch of lows since we already have that sub bass that is holding down that bottom octave. I did not want to do this with a high pass filter because I find it adds a little bit of obviously it adds resonance at the cutoff frequency, but I find it especially noticeable if you do that on bass and vocals. So I am more likely to use a low shelf instead of a high pass filter. Then around 300 hertz, I found that this was running into the way of the low end of the guitars, which I wanted to take precedent of that area. Lastly, we were running it through SansAmp on the crunchy bass setting. That's sounding awesome. So let's move down to the guitars, which I'm only processing on a submix that is sent to the instrument mix. Again, we started with a CLA 3A. I love this on both bass guitars and electric guitars. Immediately, I noticed that these are very woofy, so in the next EQ, directly after that compression, I cut a bunch of the ultra low end because there was a little bit of sub rumble that would just get in the way and take away extra headroom at the end. They were a little tubby in the 200 to 500 range, so I pulled some of that out. Next, I added just a little bit of room reverb across the entire sub because I just wanted a little bit more space and stereo width and glue from all of them. So this is the Brainworx rooms, and we're just adding in 12% of whatever the basic room reverb was. It actually sounded really good right when you open up. Here's the AB with and without that. They just sound a little bit more cohesive and glued together. Glue, as everyone likes to say. Lastly, these are super dark guitars. So I boosted, what is that? Probably 7 dB with a shelf around 2.5. Now let's A/B this processing in the track. So again, that adds a lot of energy to the guitars since they were pretty dark and tubby. Finally, let's move over to, oh, we already did the vocal. Okay, now that the most important tracks in the session are mixed, let's start bringing in all of the other processing that I did. On the guitars, I'm using the Lindell 6X500 series plugin. To boost 10K and high pass at around 250, I really just wanted the percussive element of these acoustic guitars. On this pad, I put Soothe because it is just a resonant pad. It was poking through a little too much. And that's working really hard. I didn't want this pad to really be noticed at all. I just wanted it to fill out a little bit of space. So I'm okay with Soothe working that hard. Okay, that's all I have for this mix. I'm gonna finish this off with a full playback of the final mix, but first, if you guys want to see what I have on my mix bus, I can make a separate video about that. Just leave me a comment down below, and I can make a more in-depth video specifically about the mastering chain for this song. So, can a mixing engineer sing In My Blood by Shawn Mendes? No, but he can make it sound like he can. Thank you guys for watching. Keep mixing. Until next time, goodbye, comrades.
Help me. It's like the walls are caving in. Sometimes I feel like giving up. No medicine is strong enough. Someone help me. I'm crawling in my skin. Sometimes I feel like giving up, but I just can't. It isn't in my blood. need somebody now, someone to help me out. I need somebody now, it isn't in my blood.
Hey, hopefully that one didn't clip. Let's see.